Welcome to the Mada Hugh Show. I'm Mada.
And I'm Hugh, and this is part 2 of Madalina's interview with Greg DiStefano, one of the owners of the Victor Cafe, where the waitstaff are all opera singers and you get to enjoy some great Italian food. You know, I didn't realize until we visited there and shot the interview that that was the location where Rocky was filmed, the penultimate Philadelphia hero movie. The restaurant Adrian's was shot at the Victor Cafe. And the second floor of the restaurant is like a Rocky shrine. It's pretty amazing.
Right, there's a painting there, big painting, very colorful. And the brush strokes kind of remind me of Van Gogh style. Yeah, it's really a shrine.
Yeah, and that painter was actually famous for painting many athletes from the Olympics. So very famous Olympic painter.
And besides that painting there on the second floor, there's a huge poster of Nipper, you know, and like, yes, the famous painting, his master's voice. And also, I believe there are 2 Victrolas there. They're still working.
It's
amazing. I don't know if you know that, but Enrico Caruso, famous Italian tenor who came to the States and became a superstar overnight, was the very first one to own a Victrola.
I like it.
Right?
Wow.
Yes, right. Yes. He was good friends with Eldridge Johnson, the founder and owner of Victor Talking Machine Company.
So, you know, the previous part of the interview, we were looking at the past, the history of the Victor Cafe. And now in part 2, Greg talks about the present and the future moving forward. So we hope you enjoy.
You know, I went away from the family for a while out in Los Angeles to do my thing. I was heavily involved in the computer industry and did very well. And in I guess 91 or so, I took a parachute and came home.
What exactly made you come back home?
You know, I stay in touch with my family the whole time. And listen, I ask myself that very same question.
Okay.
Let's not go there. I wouldn't wish running a restaurant on anybody. But yeah, maybe I should have stayed in California.
You're actually not running any restaurant. There are plenty of restaurants in Philadelphia. This is a very special place. And I'm not talking because I'm a musician myself and I have greatest respect and appreciation for opera, but it's where people can enjoy a very good meal and listen to something that probably they don't listen to every day, for sure.
Well, many times in our lives, I'm sure we've said that opera was a dying art, and then it gets a resurgence. We still have people that come in that have never been introduced to it before, and then you see the look on their face and you see their appreciation of it, and your hopes go up, you know. So we're just going to continue doing what we do. And, you know, hopefully it will still find appreciation out there and,
For sure.
and see what happens. If my dream of ever performing one-act operas comes true before I go, or pass it down to my, you know, the nephews, and we'll see. But I would like to try that.
So you mentioned this project, one-act opera, that you intend to bring to life. Can you tell us more about it? Can you share a little bit of insight?
It's a dream that I've always had to do a performance at the cafe. And I think it's a perfect fit for performing a one-act opera, of which there are hundreds, if not thousands. And whether people know it or not, some of your most favorite arias that you hear on TV and commercials come from one-act operas. And it would fit with a dinner hour. One-act opera is generally not longer than 90 minutes. And we've spoken about setting the place up in order to do this, but there's so many students out there, and so many of the kids still want to perform on stage and continue this beautiful art form. Of course, the Victor Cafe is tiny, but I can have backdrops painted and actually do this with costumes and sets.
Yes,
Where
exactly.
you would come in on a Tuesday after work and the appetizer and cocktail and say approximately 7 o'clock, we would play 40 minutes of the first half of a one act opera. Then dinner would come up, a really nice menu, and eat until you're satisfied and then perform the last half. If you're worried about work on Wednesday, you can leave right then, or you can stay and dessert and socialize and mingle with the artists that were on stage that evening. It's a dream of mine, and I hope that someday it comes true. That's all. I think it would work.
An evening at the Victor's Cafe back in the good old days.
Yeah.
Right. I saw a picture on the wall right there describing such an evening.
Yeah.
People would gather right after an opera, after seeing a performance, an opera performance, would gather here for drinks and, just socializing.
Yeah.
But then would you have great artist personalities coming in? Probably you would have every night.
Everybody on the wall.
Everybody on the, yes.
They were all here. And, and currently Frederica von Stade was here not long ago. And you see the pictures with Grandpapa, my father, with all of them. There's, I can see Maestro Bombacek right there, who, and Arthur Cosenza, who directed New Orleans Opera for 35 years. My godfather was Enrico Di Giuseppe, Ricky Di Giuseppe, who was the workhorse at the Met for 25 years. He broke the glass on the Memorex tape commercial before Ella Fitzgerald. Unfortunately, no one knew who he was, and everyone knew who Ella was. So that commercial lasted. But sure.
I also see Paderewski, I also see Stokowski, Toscanini, Kusevitsky, and Rachmaninoff over there. So
That's right.
these are
And
big
one of the
names.
pictures you're referring to was, I believe, I could be wrong, I believe that Opera Night in Philadelphia was Wednesday evenings at the Met. And this was where everybody gathered afterwards. So when you look at some of the old pictures, you see people were dressed up with their mink stoles on and things like that coming from the opera.
What great times. What great times indeed.
And you gotta remember, it probably would have been better for one of my older brothers or sisters to be sitting here talking to you. They were around much more for it. I was a little kid. I was just sitting upstairs waiting, God, aren't we going to close? Can't we go home?
But never mind. These things actually remained with you, right? You just got impregnated in your brain.
Right.
You're talking about it right now.
Yeah.
So, you mentioned old recordings, vinyls, Victrolas. Right? It was the time when RCA, Victor Talking Machine Company, was flourishing. The company was founded in 1901 by Elridge Johnson, Camden. We see the Nipper. We see Nipper the dog,
Right.
their mascot, listening to a phonograph. Yeah, initially it was a phonograph.
That still works.
That still works, really?
I used to take them apart when I was a kid. I was mechanically inclined. I used to take them all apart. To the left is an Edison cylindrical player, and we still have a few cylinders left. But if we tried to play it, they would probably shatter.
Actually, initially, there was a dispute with Edison because Nipper was initially thought to belong to Edison cylindric company. Actually, but this confused it. He said, dogs don't listen to recordings or something like that. It was pretty ignorant.
I didn't know
The
that.
owner of Nipper was an artist, British artist, and he painted Nipper looking
Hearing his
on
past.
phonograph.
Right.
Yeah, it's just being so puzzled, like, what was coming out of that that machine. And he initially, his owner wanted to sell the painting to Edison, who had invented the phonograph. He was the first one, but then he said no. And then
he went to Berliner, and Berliner bought the painting, and the rest is history. Affiliated with Victor Talking Machine Company, and
They're very simple mechanical devices, and they're easy to make work again. Just before the pandemic, on April Fools, I put the original 1933 menu down in front of everybody, which was given to me by one of the first waitresses back in 1995 when we were closed for a little renovation due to a small fire. And the most expensive thing being 35 cents or something like that. But we put it down on the table with an inflation calculator next to it, brought one of the Victrolas from the lounge down, and played all the music that night on the Victrola. And
the way it used to be.
yeah. And it was great.
What was the feedback? What was the feedback you received?
People loved it. And of course, we still had our performances. So that was canned music coming from, either an accompaniment that we would pay a musician for, or the music minus ones, or the arias senza voce recordings, and like that. But we had taken a lot of Grandpop's inventory and down to one of the big sound studios downtown to transfer because, face it, these records are getting too old to play and worn out, whatever. So we didn't have anything fixed. We let the snaps and crackles and pops in.
Yeah.
And when that plays, I love hearing that.
Of course.
Yeah.
The imperfections that actually
It sounds like
make a great recording.
It adds so much ambience to the place. And so it was fun.
So, do you still have
All of them.
all of them? All right. I was going to say some, but
librettos, magazines with ads in it, because Grandpa was one of only like 2 record dealers in Philadelphia. I mean, we were just putting a lot of things away in the storage, and I was leafing through things, and I learned facts I was never aware of before by reading this. And yeah, Grandpa had his ad campaign running in the magazines and this and that, the other thing. And it was, it smells musty. Every week I get a telephone call from, a husband or a wife whose partner is now deceased. And what do I do with their records? Would I like to buy them? And I tell them all the same thing. They're not worth a dime. Put them on eBay, and after a few months, when you realize no one wants them, I will come and get them and put them away for you. So, if the rumor that Mario Lanza's audition record is in our collection somewhere, sounds like be worth a lot of money, but it's a rumor. And a solid 20% of them, when you open them up, are all broken. I don't know if you remember, but they used to stamp Caruso's likeness into one of the records, and that was called a Caruso picture record.
Yeah.
They're worth about $18 if you find one. Not a lot, certainly not more than $100. And so that's it. At one time, I was seeking a grant to catalog everything we have, as much information as I could glean, and put it in a database and transfer it to a new medium, and then I would give it to the Smithsonian. They don't want it.
You should actually.
All this music is available.
Yeah.
Not on the old discs, but it's available. You go out and you can find it on the internet. So, there's been a huge effort, I guess, or not an effort, just people copying it and uploading it. So a decade ago, it was difficult to find a turntable. Well, turntables are coming back.
Yeah.
So,
That's why I think it might be worth it to just make the collection accessible to the public, because like you said, turntables are all over the place.
It's fun. We have, I remember wire recorders, the Edison cylindrical. I remember discs upstairs in the lounge hanging on the walls are records this size.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But I remember all that stuff. But yeah, they still work. It was fun when we brought the phonograph down to play that evening. It was great.
So, in order to wrap it up,
Mhm.
I would say, um, you've mentioned recordings, old recordings, vinyls, that I believe to be a proof of history, a proof of culture. Um, what do you think the most important message from the past is to the future generation through the legacy of the Victor's Cafe?
Well, that's a huge question. Maybe we should have one of the artists answer that one. Um, we're involved in art form that honestly isn't that old. I mean, singing's been around since the beginning of time, but
Yeah.
how old is the grand opera? 300 years, maybe. Um, so long as people enjoy it, we'll continue to do it.
That's a great answer. I think it summarizes every possible answers. Great. Great. Thank you so much for your
Pleasure
time.
was all mine. Thank you for asking me.
Again, special thanks to Greg DiStefano and the Victor Cafe for giving us this wonderful opportunity to explore the restaurant history, the people. What an amazing institution. And we encourage all of you, if you're ever in the Philadelphia area, you must spend some time at the Victor Cafe. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast. We are pretty much everywhere at this point. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. We would love if you could leave us a review so that more people can enjoy this show. We'll be back real soon with more forehand piano music and other music-related topics. But food is always a good one too, right?
Always, always.
I can't wait for us to go to Italy and
Yes.
play some music. So fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
But the next best thing, we'll see you at the Victor Cafe. Oh, and don't forget, we also have a Patreon page. So be sure to visit our website at madahugh.com and you'll see the Patreon link there. And we would really encourage you to support us if you enjoy this content so that it helps us to cover the costs of production and hosting the website and all that. And frankly, we love to have more friends and fans. And we have a special goal. As soon as we get 50 members on our Patreon page to subscribe to us, we're going to put a special live stream concert just for our Patreon.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's right.
And when we get to 100, dreaming here, but when we get to 100 Patreon members, we're going to do something very, very special. We love to make arrangements. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a poll and invite our members to suggest what they want us to play for, again, another live stream concert just for them, including somebody's selection of a work that we will arrange for them. So,
But one step at a time.
and one step at a time. Anyway, thanks again for watching and listening. And we look forward to seeing you in our next episode. For the Mada Hugh Show, I'm Hugh.
And I'm Mada, and see you next time.